may also be interested when you're exploring your T-cell receptor dataset is having a look at chain and diversity usage. So this is just a simple bar graph showing all the different types of chains based on the AV, or you can quickly change that to just the V allele, or you can go all the way through to the CDR3 sequences. So as you can showcase with between the two different groups, or again you can go down to the individual level of analysis. So we can just have a flick through those to see how that changes. This can either be done based on count or as percentage, although the overall graph will not change, it will just change the x-axis. The next that you can have a look at is the distribution of difference in frequencies. In order to read this graph, you can have a look at the frequency in the repertoire versus the distinct CDR3 sequences. So this particular sequence was observed, one sequence was observed about 15 times, while this sequence was observed once. So you can scroll through all of these individuals, although it's a bit more evident when we go back to the group level analysis. As you can see here, this is for the interferon gamma. Last thing is we've also got a stacked bar graph in this section. Again, this can be done on either the individual level, get rid of showing the legend for the time being, and use black lines to showcase that if we need. So let's go back to the group, change it over here, which updates it per se, and then we can see how this distributes. We can change the colors to make it a little bit more prettier if you like, or just having all one color and then changing these again like all the other plots we were using earlier. So the next section is the inverse Simpson diversity index. So first of all, in column 1, you want to select your first comparison, which in this case was the individual and or then the group. You can add additional columns to these files if you need to perform other types of comparisons which may be not captured in the group.individual level. But what you do need to select is the most unique sequence column, which should always be the alpha chain with both the and beta chain, or the gamma and the delta with the CDR3 sequences. So you can either use the inverse Simpson index or the one that's been sample size corrected. This has been done based on the index divided by the unique number of clones. You can either choose the random or the grey. Just depends on what your initial color preferences are. So in this instance, we've got our CD8 versus interferon gamma. This plot on the right is displaying the total number of clones next to the inverse Simpson, so it doesn't seem to be influenced by the number of clonotype sequence. If you do it against unique, you get more of a linear distribution, which is to be expected. Down the bottom, we've got a simple T-cell statistic. In this instance, when we have a look at the paired and the two-tailed, it can show that it's quite and in greater than less than direction. So CD8 is greater than interferon gamma. It will be significantly different based on those parameters. Again, this is a very small sample size, but it does show and backing up the observations that interferon gamma is having an influence in the overall diversity of the repertoire.